Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. StratGamer here, providing you with new Anno 1800 content today. And today this is episode 6 of our Anno Scholar Run, where we're trying to have as many scholars as possible without any export-import. And today this is a very important episode because we are looking at our first completed scholar island that you can see here. I would say it's not the biggest island obviously it's not the Cape or Crown Falls, but it is kind of a good size island, and with that island I fitted 200,000 scholars. 200,000 scholars in that one island. So let's now dive a bit into the different parts of the island. We're going to look at the items, we're going to look at the local department, also at our zoos and botanical gardens, and also a few other surprises. Okay, so let's dive in. First, let's do a quick visit of the island. Start with the port. This is the port. Here's oil factory, houses of scholars everywhere. I have also put the research institute on that island. See some other clay, bricks, and yeah, this is the end of the island, and some sand production here. As I said, 200,000. It doesn't reach yet because it just takes some time for each house to reach their maximum. And let's look at our finances. So we have 22 town halls, 7 trade unions, which are mostly for the mines and bricks and clay, and the 22 towns hall are really covering the city with always the same items. So we'll look at those items. We have some fire stations and police stations, probably way more than what we need, but I don't like to have any fires. This is good. A few botanical garden, museums and zoo that we'll look at in the future. A community up here, and mainly for to get the 10,000 engineers that we need for the research institute. Infrastructure, productions, as you can see, mostly bricks and clay, some mines. And lastly, our public services. I've put 4 radio towers and 2 universities. You could do probably with only 3 radio towers, but I wanted to be safe and ensure only 100% service across the whole island. Okay, so this is the city. Let us start. And what is the result? When you look at one scholar house, you see 180 scholars, so that is huge. And this is thanks to all of these items that we're gonna look at, fully stocked in goods. Not on happiness. On happiness, so far I'm only giving the laser boots, if you've seen my previous episodes, because the laser boots are done with pigs from the old world, so I'm not taking any space in M-Pesa. I may do the bowler hats or the rum in the future, because again, it doesn't require anything in M-Pesa, but not yet. And this is so far enough. I'm a content population of plus 13. Let's take a quick look at these elements here. So first is the M-Pesa Highlands Park to reduce the need of 10% for seafood stew. The first item in the town hall, lineman, max resident plus 15, plus happiness, plus residents from telephone and radio tower. The dean, legendary, plus 20%. 10 happiness, so without him I would definitely be in trouble, and 24 residents from the university, so that's huge. And lastly, the amazing fashion designer, 15, and 9 from tailor suits and laser boots, which is another reason to give the tailor boots, the laser boots. Then the Taiga Forest Park, -5% for the canned food and seafood stew. The Jurassic exhibition is mainly there just to give me a small boost of happiness, and doesn't take a lot of space. I could probably, maybe in the future, delete it, we'll see. But for now, keeping it. Martial Garden, happiness, but also chance of illness -50%. And I've put 2 of them, and therefore when you look, I have 0 chance of sickness, and thus I have 0 hospital on the island. And lastly, from the newspaper, full austerity, so I take all of the austerity bonus that you can get, and you do get to -68%, which is huge, and it's 1/3, right? Like the consumption will be only 1/3 of what it is. So here it is for the results. Now let's take a quick look at how we get all of these items. Let's focus first on the town hall. See, this legendary is really, you want to get it in the research institute, because for your quest it's gonna take forever to get as many as you need. Then for these 2 you have the research institute, but you can also get them in traders, in particular Ellie. But again, the research institute is also sort of the simple way to get them. I won't go into details in the trade unions because you probably know all of them. And similarly for most of these, you probably know them, but let's look at them quickly. The legendary ones, as always, you'll probably want to use the Research Institute. And then when you start moving to the Epic, you can find ways to buy them. Here I am Emperor Katema for all the Basin Islands. And God of the Delta for the Jurassic. You have to go back to the Research Institute. Madame Kaina. Madame Kaina. Similarly for the plants. Back to Nbesa for the Nbesan Island. So you get the idea. Let's take a quick look at the town hall. So you can see, I mean, it's not perfect, right? Like I have some gaps, but very small ones. Maybe later I will try to make it even more perfect, but so far pretty happy about it. And it's not just that I was on purpose putting it here instead of there, for example, right? It's because also when you try to put roads and things like this, you end up losing in that space. But anyway, what else? Of course, then we have trade unions a bit everywhere. In particular, here you can see boosting the oil for the mines. Classic combination of Angela, Gorg, and First Rate Sapper. Now let's look at the local department. I've chosen the Department of Welfare to increase public building range. So that way you need a lot less universities, as I said, only 2, and a lot less also radio towers. And for radio towers I have 4. One is completely in that corner there. One is somewhere here, and then those 2 here. Which is why I was saying, to be honest, I could probably do with 3. But with these ones, I really have 100%. I mean, if you go to the corners of the map, you will still see 100% for these. Similarly here, if we go to the corners, because obviously it is at the corners that you could have problems usually. You see full coverage. Now let's look a bit at so we have the Jurassic here. Again, as I said, for the happiness. Here we have 2, the Tega, which is minus 5%, and also the Enbesan, which is minus 10% for CFT food. And here we have our 2, marshland, getting to no risk of illness. And then lastly, one more is here the gods of the delta, so that I get basically I half the cost of my influence. So the 22 town halls, it's equivalent of if I only had 11. Maybe at the end of the game, when I'm really trying to get as many scholars as possible, I will delete this. But for now, it was good because I don't have that much influence left. Okay, and then of course we have put a big dockland, mostly with depots, piers, and loading wharf, because we do need to deliver all these resources that you see here: the canned food, the tailor suits, the seafood stew, telephones, and the leather boots. And if you don't know how I'm producing these, don't hesitate to check the previous episode that really covers most of these. And the future ones will cover the one we haven't touched upon yet. I've also tried to put a bit of attractiveness, so some fountains and trees on the corners where I basically couldn't put any more houses. And yeah, fairly good coverage on the fire. There's really nowhere that is not covered. And similarly for the police, because I don't like to have to rebuild all the time. Prefer something that can run forever. So here it is, 200,000 scholars on this island. Only 2 oil power plants thanks to this Department of Welfare plus this policy. Don't hesitate to share any comments, feedback, questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And of course, we are now gonna move on to the next Scholar Island, plus also some other production islands. Thank you for watching.